Welcome to the Essential Send and Inclusion channel. In this recording, I'm going to be talking about the 7Cs Learning Portfolio, which is a strengths-based language of assessment. As the name suggests, the 7Cs Learning Portfolio contains 7 learning concepts that all begin with the letter C. So right in the middle of the portfolio, we have the curriculum, and around the curriculum, we have the learning concepts linked to cognition, communication, creativity, control, compassion, and coordination. And that's recognising that in order to access the curriculum, we need to have strengths and skills in relation to those learning concepts. In addition to the 7 learning concepts, there are a further 7 learning attributes for each of those 7 Cs. So in real terms, teachers, TAs, learners themselves and their families then have access to a language of 49 learning attributes that can be used to consider strengths and areas for development. So, for example, within cognition, we would think about whether the learner had strengths in relation to working memory, speed of processing, inference, anticipation, reflection, evaluation and analysis. In communication, we'd be thinking about strengths or areas for development in relation to speech, so the pool of words that the learner has, so their expressive vocabulary, as well as their skills of articulation, their understanding of vocabulary, their ability to engage in collaborative conversation, skills of listening, social communication, and social interaction. With creativity, we'd think about the skills of generating ideas, problem solving, attention, motivation, making things, courage and trust. And in control, we'd be thinking about self-regulation, behaviour for learning, anxiety management, confidence, resilience, having a language of emotions and independence. And then in compassion, we'd be thinking about the skills of friendships, turn-taking, empathy, having a sense of justice, sense of self-esteem and well-being, self-efficacy and support for others. And in coordination, we'd be thinking about fine and gross motor skills, sensory mobility, stability and balance, posture and sensory processing. And all of those 49 learning attributes fit neatly into this small booklet, which you can make using from the A4 sheet. So in the book, on page 67, you can photocopy, or indeed all of the resources in the books are available for electronic download, and you print out the little booklet, you fold it in half. So first of all, hold it horizontally, fold it in half. At this stage, try and line up the corners as well as you can. Once you've folded it once, we're going to fold it again, and then we're going to fold it once more. And at this point, we make sure that our folds are as neat as possible, and then we open it up. And we're going to this time hold it portrait, and we're going to fold it down in half so that the fold is on the top, and we can then cut one little slit right down. There's a little line that's indicating it, so I'm going to just make one little slit between communication and curriculum, creativity and coordination. Once I've made the split, open it up, fold the piece of paper in half, make the square, fold it round. This is when it's really handy if you've folded it much neater than I have, and you can make your little booklet. So here's one I made earlier. So if you would like to make your own Seven C's learning portfolio, which can then be a verbal prompt and a reminder of the 49 learning attributes, then have a look on page 67 of the SEND assessment book. Look forward to seeing you at the next recording. Thank you.